off with our colony. We're doing a prehistoric planet run, which is the latest DLC. We're working on all that. You don't remember where we left off last time? I don't either. I'm pretty sure we didn't have our power infrastructure fully balanced out. We're definitely not doing any cooling stuff yet. We haven't popped any of the geysers, but we were getting to that. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, so I got pretty close to the surface. We have not destroyed the asteroid that's closing in on us. Why is there a big hole here? That's the first question. Why is there a big hole there? Okay, we'll deal with that in a minute. With that... Yeah, so we're clearing out to a bunch of different biomes and getting that all over. I think we were in relatively good shape. Yeah, so we're getting down to about halfway to Demolier getting here, which, if it hits, it creates all sorts of mayhem. I think what happened is I think we had asteroids hit and smash through there. I probably have to build the bunker tiles. That's exactly what's happening. Those asteroids hit hard enough they're breaking it. So that's not good. Okay, so things we were working on. Our power grid is functional but not properly balanced. As you can see, we are very, very peat heavy right now, so we're definitely going to want to get switched off of that. I want to say we did start the we did start the process of getting hydrogen in here and oxygen, and then we're starting to filter it out over there. We got a ways to go with a lot of that. Ideally, I want to get a better system set up over there so that I could keep this thing running constantly and keep all that going. We're going to definitely want to scale up our power grid and a lot of this stuff. Okay, so I got all that built. Where are you going and why? Okay, so you're getting way over here to get materials. Oh, there's like a unit of fertilizer on the opposite end of all existence. Okay, but yeah, so the things we're working on right now is oh, that's right, we needed to get the bio whatever it was set up so that we can make the biodiesel. And so we were waiting on photo oil so we can do all this. Why do I feel like there's something? Yeah, so get the photo oil. Yeah, so you're making the photo oil, it's going up there, getting into here. The photo whatever goop. That makes the photo oil, then the photo oil goes over here. Basette got a skill point. We'll grab the tiding. Pretty soon we're gonna have problems with stress. And you are storing what? You had biodiesel. And then this is waiting on materials to make the introcosmic whatever. And you just needed more biodiesel. Are you not hooked up? Is that what's going on here? So let's double check this. So you've got biodiesel in there. What are you short on to actually make those shots? We've got peat going in there. We got plenty of that. We've got nickel going in there. We don't have a ton of nickel, admittedly. And then we got biodiesel. And it's claiming we don't have any available, but also telling me I've got 200 kilograms inside this thing. So I'm a little confused of what's going on. I think it's like literally just waiting for that to work. Alright. But yeah, so what I need to do is I need to keep that running. I believe I've got it set up so that they start working on all of this. And a bunch of stuff is getting damaged up here. That is what it is. We're gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, so things are like relatively fine. We've got more than enough food. Our water is processing. It's actually having a little bit of a problem, like, backing up because of how much water we're moving around. And we were running down here and working on getting all this set up. Right, and the thing that was holding me up is we had this. I needed more of the brine and seawater to hopefully get more of that happening. Okay. I think I remember where we were at. And we're filtering all our gases. So the carbon dioxide we're just venting into space. The oxygen is getting pumped down here, where it's slowly being let out into the area. We've got our radiation research going. Okay, and how are we doing? So peat, I'm at 11 tons, so we're in good shape with peat. We're in good shape with algae. Am I using the algae? Yeah, we're using the algae a little bit, so that's fine. Coal I've got a little bit. Polluted dirt I've got a bunch of. Sand I've got a bunch of. And we were slowly getting clay over here because of this gross down here. And then I wanted to go down here and set up where the mosquito things could get to these, and then I could harvest them. That's going to take a little bit of work, though. Alright. We got all this stuff for food as well. Yeah, we got our second farm set up. So our farms, we're doing extremely well on that. We've got where we're starting to get the lums set up. Ideally, I think we're going to want more lums. Like, more places to have the lums. We can go over here also and get that all done. Get the materials out of it. Yeah, so I think we needed to get more nickel. Because it looked like we were getting low on our metals. Which is going to become more and more of a problem. I got a bunch of nickel down here. So we can start working on that. Because we can make sure they can't pass from this other side. And get all that nickel picked up. And we dug over here. There's a bunch of sulfur and all that. Yeah, so I think the things we need to do is keep our stuff going up here. I guess I'll make that a 7 priority. Because the thing is just literally... Building will be operate once a duplicate is available. Yeah, so I think we need to keep this going here. We can speed this up a little since it looks like nothing's in danger. We can get this going here, and that'll keep that going. We should check on the temperature. I imagine we're starting to get pretty toasty. Yeah, so up here where we're burning everything, it's getting properly hot. That's going to be a problem. And I do have a bunch of wheeze warts we can use for part of our cooling process. But that's not going to be super reliable. I'm going to need a proper actual cooling system. Now, what I got to remember is I believe if we can get to the point of steel, we can enclose some aqua tuners and some water in a tight area with steam on top of it and use that as kind of a rotation where the aqua tuners boil the water, which runs the steam, which runs the pumps to, you know, get the coolant. And the big challenge there is what you put in there for the coolant, because if you put water in, it immediately freezes and shatters the pipes. And then super coolant is a very end-game material that takes a lot to set up. It's like if we go to this thing and we look at the super coolant, I would need fullerene, gold, and petroleum. Yeah, so we'd go in here. Yes, fullerene, which you get fullerene from graphite, sulfur, and aluminum in a molecular forge. Then graphite you get from a rock crusher. Oh, that'd be from the fullerene, which we obviously don't want to go that way. Where do you get the graphite? Graphite is the most stable form of carbon, is highly thermal conductive. Resource type, raw material. Alright, so it's probably something we have to get from another location. Yeah, so immediately we got to deal with, before anything else, this has to go. Or if we let that go, everything here in yellow gets destroyed. So it'll smash all the way down to about here. And all of this gets destroyed. Needless to say, we don't want that. So we're going to keep blasting that thing to get rid of it. So far we've done a little teeny tiny bit of damage. Nowhere near as much as we need. And that means this stuff needs to get going. And the biodiesel is literally just waiting on the bleach stone and photo oil. And then photo oil is waiting on the plants down here. And so we've got that planted. I just need more seeds to come in. One thing I'm going to have to do is there's a pocket of air here. So we can deconstruct that block real fast. That'll let that pocket of air up. And then we can build it again. As you can see where it's filling up the ends here, but that's got air trapped into it. Don't shift over. Hey, don't do that. It's fine. We'll just take apart that one. We got a bunch of chlorine gas that's still up in the area. This is over here to filter that out gradually. And it's getting there, but it's taking time. Okay, and with that, what we can do here is let that continue to go. The air pressure in some of this is getting pretty high. Okay, we can go here and see what we got. Right now I'm going to take algae because I don't even remember what the heck I need. Let's check, make sure we don't have anyone with injuries because I haven't looked in a long time. That's fine. Yeah, so we can just keep letting that go until we get more of the seeds. Every single time we harvest one of these, I've got a 10% chance of getting another seed. So that's kind of where we're at with this, is just letting that go. This stage, now that I've got that settled, let's uproot all of these. And the reason I'm going to do that is that will now let me plant those over here. So it'll reduce the pathing going back and forth. Okay, we can go here. Go to food. Farm tile. And get that built. It'll still keep the one, because like I said, I want that to push the air out so that I can put this here, and then all of those will be under. How are we doing on fertilizer? I didn't bother to check that. That might be something I'll be really upset to find. See more. Fertilizer. Not great. So these things need fertilizer to live. Alright, so let's figure out where we're getting fertilizer from, because that's now an urgent priority. So, fertilizer, we can get applications of fertilizer. Polluted water, dirt, and phosphate in the fertilizer synthesizer. Alright, we're just going to have to deal with that. So, production. I don't think we have a fertilizer synthesizer up already. So we'll go to, that's probably refinement. Fertilizer synthesizer. Toss that right there for right now. And so let's see what it's saying. You need polluted water. Actually, hang on. Cancel build. You need polluted water brought in. Which we are currently piping into all of this. I could probably put it right here. Yeah, so that's all the gross water coming in. So I'll have that. We will need power. And one of the things we're probably going to want to do is right now I'm just all in on the heavy power cables. We're going to definitely want to move to the transformers because otherwise it's going to be awful. Okay, so we're gonna need that to keep these going. And that's almost got that, that filled in. Right now I don't need to sweat it too much because you just let them keep doing their thing. But that'll be good because that'll be consuming some fertilizer. Keep that going. It's interesting this one doesn't have any type of limit. That's also making more heat. Yeah, so we're going to definitely have a problem with heat up here. And like I said, we've got a bunch of areas down here where we've got tons of wheezeworts that, while not the best way of dealing with cooling, would allow me an ability to help a little bit until we can get steel production online to get better resources. Because I believe I can put the metal panels behind this and then run liquid behind there. Yeah, and you're staying below freezing, so we could not use water. Water would just freeze, break the pipes. We don't have nearly enough like petroleum or anything like that to use, because I've used that in the past. So we're just going to have to make do with whatever we can make happen. You don't need to be there. Yeah, sooner or later that's going to top off. And I won't need to worry about it. And you've got all the water sorted there. That's fine. Okay. And how are we doing on our hydrogen? Are we actually storing enough hydrogen now? No, we're literally getting none into storage. The air breathability is maxed out, so really before I have to worry about air breathability, we would need significantly more oxygen coming into the system. I'm probably also going to want to set up some storage over here for the oxygen as well, to have a buffer, so that this can kind of keep running. Yes, still carbon dioxide in the bottom here. That'll eventually get pulled out of there. Okay, so we're getting more of these, that's good. Okay. And we are having them gradually pull up all the water down here to move up here for the purposes of the sea comb. And then we're probably going to keep digging down after that point to keep exploring. We do have, there was a like steam geyser, like an actual steam geyser over there. That could be a source of some power. The problem is, again, the heat. That it will gradually damage things unless we get that match. What is your problem? Pollination. Pollination I can live with. Pollination is just, that'll take care of itself. When I saw that many, I was waiting for it to be like air pressure or something like that, and that's a much harder to fix problem. Alright, so yeah, we just gotta keep letting them run that over until it's filled up or that's gone. Now one of the challenges is obviously the bees can reach here, and we're going to want to clear that out so we can continue to go down here without dealing with them. We do have the teleporter to the next planet over here, but one of the challenges is the bee nest here. I'm going to have to work my way around it so we're not going through that bee nest and getting ourselves killed again and again. How much bleachstone do you have? About 900 kilograms. The bleachstone I want to say we get from these little guys over here. So that's going to be one we're going to have to deal with, is the dartles. Yeah, because when they eat their fruit, they drop bleach stone. We'll have to grab that bleach stone and move it. The other challenge we're running into is you can see here the air pressure is getting higher. Now, one of the things I did notice about this, from the last attempt, we had one of these rooms that was full of those little guys, and it reached a point with the bleach stone. It was getting up to be like 35 kilograms air pressure in there, just with how it was working. And that became a real problem. Yeah, that's us worried. Still got that pocket of air, and it doesn't look like it's going to clear. Alright, let's go here. Get that built. For now, deconstruct you. You've done your job. Cool. It did sort itself out. Alright, and with that, deconstruct you. You've done your job. We don't need any more of the brine or any of that up there. Now I just need them to continue to work on that. I could see potentially starting another room of this right next to it. Research focus. I don't even remember what we were doing anymore. Sure, grab that, I don't care. Right, so we got the steam and all that. That's plastics. So that'll be one of the things we gotta work on, is getting the plastics all sorted out. So lock this door open. Now what we can do here... So I'll plan for another room that's the exact same as this one. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we can add a door here. And mine all of that out. Because that's just going to take time to get that set up. Because I'm assuming I'm going to need an obnoxious amount of that oil. And that's going to require me to be producing a lot of that stuff. Okay. And then the other thing we need to do is get plastic. And like I said, the plastic, my most likely source of that's going to be the Lura here. Which is going to be me letting these little knit larvae up to them. And then juggling that, which is going to be a whole thing. Now, I got tons of polluted dirt here. It is what it is. That's going to take time. The other thing we're going to need to do here is plumbing. They'll do the same thing where they'll just keep grabbing all the brine and salt water and all that and dump it there. We can go down here and let that run down below. Okay, and you got more nickels, so we'll go here and say, alright, grab the next 4 rows. We'll keep mining that out. Alright. It would be nice if I could get the pip someplace where I could have it planting seeds for me wildly. It's a shame the pips can't handle cold, because I could genuinely see having the pip run around, and even though it gets 1 or 2 wheezeworts planted down here, getting a bunch of wheezeworts all in one spot, and then we could just run stuff through there. Okay, so sweep all, brine, and salt water. And you are allowed to auto bottle. And same deal. Brine and salt water and auto bottle. And we're not going to bother queuing up any of those to be planted until this is all sorted. Because that's going to just take a while to get that all done. Food poisoning. Okay. So, eating germ-covered sweet corn. Alright, where's the germ situation? Alright, why do these have germs all over them? Where is our germ source? So it's probably the water here. Yeah, our water got pretty badly contaminated. And getting that sorted is going to be a whole mess. Let's... So we need to get stuff disinfected. Yeah, it's gonna take some time to get that all sorted. It's fine. We are getting our fertilizer made, which is appreciated. We can keep all this going. Yep. Alright, so major eye irritation and all that. Okay. So one thing I might end up doing here is telling this pump to not run unless that's high enough. Because right now it's just kicking on. I mean, that's probably fine. Okay, so I've got all this going. It's just going to take time. Alright. Yeah, so you've got everything we need. Make that an 8. People starving is entirely self-inflicted. Yeah, so biodiesel contains biodiesel. Contains biodiesel. That's what I don't understand. You should have everything you need. It should be being produced. It's fine. They'll get there. Or they won't. I don't know. We're getting more nickel to keep that going. I haven't been paying attention. Have we seen this lose any more health? We have not. So I gotta get that producing, because that asteroid's gonna hit us. And we're getting the biodiesel. That part's fine. We're just not actually producing it. Oh, could it be the power? There's just not enough spare on the grid to actually get the process done. Now we got biodiesel, nickel. It's got all resources. Maybe bump it up to a 9? Choose a blueprint so we can get another pipsqueak. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Someday we'll move those around. We could also go over here. This is becoming kind of a CO2 trap, which isn't super helpful. Start mining that to get that all moving. Okay, I've almost got that sorted. And those are almost all planted. Because once these are all planted, we'll get those started, and they can just sort out the water as they're able. Mop that up. Okay, so the ice turns solid again. That's good news. Okay, we got more water over here. And Pete is still going down, which should sort of be taking care of itself as these get their population up. Alright, so we got that room done. There's no point making another place for the plums yet. We don't have the ability to take care of that. If we were to go to refinement, the metal forge, to make it out of igneous rock, it's probably gonna be the best you're gonna get. You require an obnoxious amount of power and make an obnoxious amount of heat. This I remember. So I can go down here. Now I gotta remember, there's an intake pipe. There's an intake pipe that brings us water, I believe it was, and an outbound pipe that I want to say gives us the molten metal. We could check this. So with this, we take the raw metal in, we make whatever refined metal out the other side. And steel is iron, refined carbon, and lime. But what do we have for the other stuff? Reduces refined metal out of ore. Significantly heats liquids and outputs the liquid pipe into it. Right. Right, so we're going to put water into it or whatever, and then it's going to get heated, and then we dump it out. And that can be coolant or whatever, but something that's going to handle some heat. Alright, you gained a skill point. I'll have you take the tidying. We're probably going to need people able to treat the food poisoning. So that's going to genuinely be... Allows duplicants to administer powerful things. The sickbay allows duplicants to administer basic treatments to things. Must possess bedside manner. Then we have the apothecary. So put the apothecary there. Put the sickbay there. Make sure it has power. They do not need it. Okay, so at least that way maybe we're going to get some medicine to deal with stuff. Alright. Keep working on some of this. You got that cleared, so let's take the next 4 chunks. Actually take this from the other side, because this isn't going to be my permanent place for this, or even if it is, we'll end up changing it. So pull that up. Okay, so what I think we do here is, as far as the metal goes, we'll input whatever liquid we are going to use for cooling. In the meantime, we're just going to dump the hot liquid down the hole. That seems like the reasonable and ethical way of approaching this. Just saying, you know what? I don't feel like dealing with this. This is a you problem. And moving on with our lives. Certainly nothing bad ever comes from that type of behavior. Alright, and then meanwhile for the input, what temperature is the liquid going to be coming out of here? Is the real question. Because if it ends up being way too hot, we're just going to be having a problem. And honestly, any opportunity we get to make steel, probably just take it. That's going to require us to make refined carbon. So... I'll tell it to do the refined carbon with coal anytime you've got coal. Nothing has ever gone bad from that type of behavior. Yeah, no, exactly. It's all fine. It is all good. Things are great. We have more than enough food, so I'm going to deliberately drop the farm station down to be very low priority. So we're not burning fertilizer on it. So cut that way when it does dump down it. Alright, so my fear is if I use just straight up water, it'll burst the pipes. That's kind of my fear right now. It'll be too hot, turn into steam, and burst the pipes. At the same time, part of me feels like I could probably just dump the molten stuff down here until this place becomes hot, and then I regret my decisions. And that will be something I'll have to worry about when we get there. Because to fix it properly, I need a proper means of dealing with this. Natural gas. Where are we getting natural gas from? Alright, let's get our power going. So for the power here, I just slam another cable in there. We're definitely getting to the point that the power grid is not going to be able to handle it with stuff running like that. That is going to be a big issue that we get off to. And I definitely don't think we build more peat power. But we're also not making nearly enough hydrogen to support that. We don't have a source of coal. Ideally, I think we're going to be moving on to steam power. You know, taking advantage of, like, the steam guys or something like that. Alright, so you're waiting coolant. So what is the temperature that salt water... So 200 and something degrees... It's honestly just about the same between the salt water and that for boiling into steam. What about this up here? The photo oil. How are you so far as handling heat? So for biodiesel can go an extra, like, almost 200 degrees before it'll turn into carbon dioxide. Which is an interesting one. And we can check over here to the photo oil. And the photo oil actually has a lower boiling temperature to even that. So I could, in a pinch, use the biodiesel as a coolant. And that might be better. We're not quite to the point I'm going to have that ready to do anything. But it is worth considering. Now with that, what I'd probably do is where we have this up here, I'd probably want to have that go down here to this. And then we want to circle it back past, like, the Wheezeworts to try and cool it off as much as possible before looping it back around. But there'll be some catch with that. Yeah, because I want it to be radiant pipe over here. So let's look over here. If we were to go in, I'm trying to remember where was it utilities? Yeah, temp shift plates. So thermic reactive. Alright. Oh yeah, I forgot. One of the tricks you could use. Yeah, high thermic conductivity. Yeah, and those plates are a bit costly on the material front. So plan for that to be a thing. Alright, we can go over here, piping, radiant piping. Ah. We have iron and all that. So use that there. Then we'd want insulated piping. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna ditch this. Basically changing my plan how we're approaching this. And being less awful. So insulated piping. From this section. Bring it up this side, plug it in. That should cool it off. So at this stage, I could just use regular piping. Okay, we're trying to get over there to... this spot. So we can plug that in. No, that's not quite right. So I want to go here, cancel this part. That's not right. And instead we want to bring this one up and around to plug in this side to go into the storage container to go through there. And then this one would come back down. And then we can plug that in there. Okay. So we'll see how that works. Interesting. They just have the graphic representation of its insulator nut, as opposed to making the insulation a purple color. It should actually... yeah, like you can see there's like a different texture on all these. When it's actually built, they'll be a different color. So you see how it's kind of turning that purple color for the insulated. Then that'll be that one. So the other thing we want to potentially do is we could potentially put a valve here of some kind that is like, hey, this hasn't cooled off yet. Don't let it through until it's cooled off enough. So that's always a tricky one because I don't really have a good way of lining this up here. Alright, so thermosensor is for that. We want the inline one. So, element, liquid thermosensor. You put it here. Deconstruct that. And then I would need plumbing. Connects to automation grid to automatically turn off liquid flow. So we're going to adjust these so that as we're trying to control the radiation, we're smarter about it. Okay, so let's go here. We will want a tile here. For any of these, so none of those work. Let's check the insulation. It'll be the same thing. Alright, so yeah, so unfortunately the blocks I would want to prevent radiation aren't really going to do it. Yeah, there's nothing here that's like particularly good for containing it. So I'll drop you there. Actually, for that matter, let's change that. Don't build this here. That's where we'll put the liquid shutoff. There's a liquid shutoff there. Oh, I'm gonna have to change. Alright. Cancel that again. I know I'm fussing with these all over the place. I gotta get this set up right. So what I actually need is I need the temperature sensor there, the liquid shutoff over here, plumbing, the liquid shutoff valve over there. So I can grab a regular liquid pipe here to connect those, and then we would need to cut those. And then from there, we can go to automation, grab an automation wire, and plug those in together. That way, it hits here. If it's not cold enough, the valve closes, and we can just let it sit there and cool off. When it gets cold enough, it lets it through. That way, we're not sending hot, hot stuff up there. Let's see. Let's not send knit eggs in the middle of my place. We'll just reject all those. We're gonna need the plastic. That is gonna be a thing that needs to happen. Like I said, that's over here. That's getting the knits where they can get up to these things. Oh, you can consume mimicas as well? Okay. Interesting. So the Mimicas pollinate it and then get eaten. I can live with this. And we'll see how this works. How goes the meteor shooting? Not as good as I would like. We have not actually gotten any shots off in a while. I've got this queued up to be very high priority, and it has all the materials, but it doesn't seem to be doing it. Only duplicants with the pyrotechnic skill or the tidying booster can operate this machine, which I have plenty that should qualify. I should have like 2 that qualify. Like if we look at the yeah, so you have pyrotechnics on here. So Zaxreed can do it. I've got it set to 9, so like literally if we have someone who can do it, they should work on it. Let's go to priorities. So Zaxreed. I've got you set up for tidying and all that. I guess I'm gonna have to bump you up to operating. I don't really want to do that, but I'm hoping... Yeah, that'll get done. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to leave it that way. That means other stuff's gonna fall behind, which I don't love, but it needs to be done. Okay, and we're hitting that point where power is not managing. So I need to get the power sorted out. Alright, power options. So we're not getting petroleum, that's not gonna help. We're not getting natural gas, that's not gonna help. I can't really get away with more peat. We're already burning through what we've got. Steam would be nice, but I need plastic. Solar panels would be nice, but I need glass. And the solar panels will get clobbered by the meteors until we get things set up for that. We don't have wood. And like, I'd like to have more hydrogen, but right now we're already producing enough oxygen to completely handle everything I need. Oh, which what I can do is actually deactivate this for right now. Because we'll try and switch everything over to doing this. Because that could improve the amount of hydrogen we get in there and maybe help out. Okay, so with this, iron to steel, forever. If you got the materials, make some steel. And honestly, do the same for iron. Those will be the 2 that we worry about making better. Waiting for materials. Okay. Because if we can get steel going, we can get ourselves a genuine means of handling a bunch of this stuff. Oh, you know what we should do? Okay. So what I can do, since that's passively working... We can hook that to be a bypass so it does rotate around constantly. To again, use that as a gradually cooling this area. Oh, you need power. Of course you do. Okay, so we want it to be below... Right now, say like 80 degrees, somewhere in that ballpark. Yep, so nothing else is happening. It's going to deliver here. It hits the center, and immediately locks it. And then we start cooling off the liquid. And so it's gonna kind of like go in fits, but it should be something that over time will bring the temperature down around here, which is good because it's just kind of hot over there. Output pipe full. Okay. Honestly, that's fine. I don't want that thing to run too much anyways. Yeah, every once in a while there's one that's like 200 degrees Fahrenheit that clearly came out of the machine. And it very, very rapidly is dropping the heat. Alright. So that's all good news. Yeah, so that, like I said, what should happen is over time, you can see this pipe is cooler than everything else. That should start mitigating it. I don't think it'll be enough to overcome it. Okay, so we now got enough of these. So you tell them to do these ones as well. It's going to take time. You're still pulling all that up. Alright, how are you doing? We did do some more damage, for what it's worth. Alright, so you're waiting on biodiesel. Do you actually have that? We already do have biodiesel in there. And peat and nickel and everything else. So that's fine. So it's just Zaxxery trying to make that ammo as fast as they can. Let's see. Okay, we got this up here. So vitamin chews reduce the chance of contracting germ-based disease. So the vitamin chews are coal. That's stuff we don't have, and coal, and coal. That'll be interesting, that's sea leaf, so that's allergies. Interesting. Yeah, so none of that's gonna matter. So we built those probably for no reason, but that's okay. Sometimes just build stuff for no reason. Okay, and let's get another shot off. So I think each shot does like 10 damage or something like that. So we are behind. Yeah, we got 80 cycles till it impacts us. So I need to be making a bit over one of those per each and every cycle, which is probably very doable, but starting to kind of worry about it. You fired it. It must just take a while to get there. Where was the star map? Oh, I've got multiple of those inbound. Okay. Alright, so that's not bad. Yes, they're just turning away at that. So I think we're actually on a pretty good path. As long as I keep things going, we should be alright. Food poisoning is continuing to be a problem. We've just got food poisoning a lot of places. It needs to be resolved. Why did you get damaged? Did you get some other type of gas contaminating there? Oh, okay, hang on. So we got a problem here. That is natural gas that I really don't know. Oh, right, we're getting the natural gas from... Was it you that makes the natural gas? As one of your byproducts? One of these things made natural gas as a byproduct of the process we were doing. Guessing it was you. Yeah, so we make it from... I think a lot of methane is a byproduct. I don't remember this game having methane. I remember it was natural gas. Alright, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to expand this. Because we are taking damage and stuff because it is sneaking by. It's a good problem to have because even if I'm only adding a little bit of natural gas to the system, that natural gas is still ultimately another source of power. So if I could supplement our power grid just a little bit, that is something I can live with. Okay, so for here, we'll want the gas vents. Connect them. So you, right now I don't have a home for you. So I'll have that. What would be the best way to do this? So we'll snip you. Right now you can stay that way for just a second. Okay, and now we'll snip you. We go to our vents over here. So you can go like this. And connect that there. And bring you over here and then back over there. So that'll be fine. You are going to need to be rerouted down and over. So we will have you reroute here. And there. For right now, we'll leave it alone and just let it run. We will need power. I've got to go through and start sorting that out. Yeah, because then we can tell it to get the natural gas out of the way. Alright, slowly chipping away at that thing. Alright, so you are going to be configured to filter out unbreathable gases, natural gas. And then once I get that sorted, we will get another thing for power. That'll be natural gas. We'll just put it up here with the rest of this junk. With, again, the intentions that we will have the power there turn on and off with that battery to keep everything running as best we can. Okay, so you are getting natural gas, and it's a decent amount. So that's good. So that'll fix that problem. Now we need to go here and correct some of the others. So here, we will snip this line. You no longer go that way. Deconstruct you. Deconstruct you. Yeah, so that should mean going around this way. And there's carbon dioxide. The pipes are getting a little backed up because the oxygen's getting too full. So once I get that done, I'm probably going to go and split off the oxygen as well. But in the meantime, power, natural gas. Okay. So it does put out polluted water. It gives me a bunch of extra power. So what we're going to probably end up doing is something like this. We're going to go right up here. We're going to run some mesh tile underneath it. We don't need to pump any water in. That's fine. But I will need to pump vents in. Okay, and you put out carbon dioxide, I assume. Produces carbon dioxide. That's fair. Okay, so it produces carbon dioxide. I could just pipe it right over directly to that, not have to do anything fancy. Because this is the get it out of my life pipe. So that's your outbound. And then the inbound is going to be the natural gas, which is currently down here. Let's not do it that way. The best way for me to handle this is cutting across all that's going to be tricky. I don't want to just pop down here because that'll just be causing me a problem with the oxygen line. Regardless, this is coming over. This is going to be a little cursed, but we're going to do it. So do this, then this, then this, then this. You get the idea. So connect that. Connect you. Hook them up. Hook them up. Okay, now get that online. So let's make sure we get the automation hooked up now. Cool. And then last but not least, get it hooked up to the power grid, because it won't do me a good to have a generator slamming at full speed and then not actually be plugged in. Okay, so that should get all that going. Then I want to get down here to get the oxygen filter once that's done, because that'll be another source of power. Even if it's not good as far as the amount we're getting, it's still another source of power. And right now I need to not be picky about any of that. Okay. Alright, so we got all that running through, that's fine. And how's Demolier doing? We're doing okay, we're making progress. I think we're good on Demolier. I just gotta let what's running continue to do so. And that should eventually get itself sorted out. Interesting enough, that is salt water. So we can lock that open. And frankly, just dig this over. And dig that over. And that should spill what salt water we can in there. And then we can mop it up and handle it. Alright, so let's go ahead and choose the blueprint here. I'll take the Oxifern. I know how to place I want it. I'll take it for now. Hey, Server Lord, how's it going? Oh, are you making the natural gas? It doesn't matter where it's coming from. But getting that all hooked up will give me a little bit stuff going on. That'll be supplementing our power even more. Our breathability is still doing okay. Got an alarming amount of carbon dioxide I gotta get out of here. Yeah, like, oh, you can't reach that. Okay. That's a little not great, but that's fine. You're tired, you want to sleep, but struggling to sleep? It's only 3:37 p.m., but have 2 nephews down and a niece. Nephews are awesome, but high autism. Gotcha. Giving your sister a break. Well, it's good to give family a break, but yeah, no, I can imagine. Okay, so deconstruct this tile, deconstruct this tile, deconstruct that tile.
Thank you Thrall for subscribing for 5 months. No backseating? But I have 1,200 hours in this game 3.
Hey Thrall, thank you so much for the Prime Gaming sub. That is 5 months you've been subbed to channel. I really do appreciate that continued support and all good stuff. Yeah, no, it's I've got a bunch of hours in it. I'm obviously not min-maxing or anything really good or whatever. There's so much more that can be done so much better. But also I don't care. Is the honest reality. Like, I could be making this into a power room and all that, and that'd help a little bit. Yeah, so let's get the natural gas hooked up. That'll supplement our power a little bit more. And hopefully we can keep drawing all of the carbon dioxide out here. Then the next thing I want to do is get filtering on the oxygen. You're mostly just teasing? Yeah, no, it's all good. And there we go. So now we got more power options, because every additional variety of power we have, it just means if something goes wrong, the entire grid doesn't shut down. Okay, so we got all that. That'll do for right now. That's more polluted water coming in. Well, Mimica, you are not the smartest little critter there. Gonna be direct with you. You are not demonstrating a high level of intelligence. Putting yourself right underneath the water and dying. All right. And no research set, that's fine. I'm not really focused on at all what we are researching. Just kind of working on what I'm working on, and as they find time, they find time. Ooh, I wonder how cold it is before biodiesel... before it becomes a problem. Biodiesel. What is the point where you get too cold to be an issue? Oh, 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Well, hopefully that lets through soon, because that's getting down to the point that's likely to freeze. And you are cooling down a lot. So usually it's something like a difference of 5 degrees when it'll actually freeze. Like from boiling to freezing or whatever, you have to be like 5 degrees past it before it actually kicks over. Yeah, so some of that's getting pretty hot. So that might not be enough cooling, which is understandable. Duplicate skills. Sure. Sure. And I don't even know what to put you on. Operating, sure. So you ran out of that. Peat, we should have plenty, right? No, the peat's gone. The peat is all gone. That is a real problem, because that means my entire power grid just got properly screwed. Because that's where all that comes from. Now, good news is this will keep running without them. So we just need them to keep having more babies. Alright, let's just plan to get another room for the lums. Because once we get to this one where they're like, hey, it's starting to get crowded, I'm gonna need as many lums as I can get. So our power grid is gonna be in dire straits for a little while here, because we haven't fully exhausted our entire peat supply, which is also going to screw my food, because I also need peat for that. And so we're going to need, like, the little dino friends to start increasing their population fast. Okay, come on. So how close? You are just barely starting to incubate. You're still pretty early on. You're close. So good news, it does look like they reproduce relatively quickly. We are juggling to keep some of the power up and running, but it is not remaining reliable. Yours is upset about pollination, which should be gradually sorting itself out. I'm glad a lot of that still is running. We are continuing to make fertilizer. Did we actually get any of the steel made? I haven't even been watching. Let's see here. Okay, I've not made any steel yet. They have all the materials to do it, and enough of all of them to do it. They just haven't done it, which is fine. Yeah, so I got these cooling off. Like I said, I think what we're going to end up needing is more. And then this is one of the big problems, is with the sensor here. They're getting past that point. I wonder if I put another temp plate there, if it'll help. Yeah, try putting a template behind there and see if that helps. Okay, so you're down to 890. We are behind the ball, and the power shutting off has hurt us real bad. The good news is this is our bottleneck here, is this stuff, and that is at least still happening. And we can keep this going as well, where it's not backing it up. So things are still moving along that line. I think for the time being, we probably need to disable some of these things. So here's hoping that'll speed up the rate things change their temperature. I don't know if it will. Yeah, because when it's over there, it just super rapidly drops temperature. Ah, so like one spot of hot oil is getting by, while a cold one, it's fine. Alright, so I need you to breed faster. I need you to breed way faster. Okay, what else can I do to supplement our power in the short term? Not a whole lot. This thing is producing natural gas, which is nice and all, but it's not getting where I need it. So that'll be oxygen going down there. So at this stage, it'll be oxygen. I don't want to really have to like weave that whole thing around again, because you can see this is getting cursed. We also have a lot of hydrogen here that could be helpful. So let's start planning to build this out for the oxygen storage. I don't know if I want to pipe it all over yet. Because that'll just be more power consumption. That's fine. We'll set up for it. We're gonna need it anyways. Holy spaghetti Batman. Yeah, and this comes from, like, not planning ahead on it, which I'm totally okay with, for the record. Very, very genuinely, I am A-okay with all this happening. Alright, so we'll get this going. Have that brought over. And go ahead and pipe that over. So that'll make all that work. And then when we get to here, that's the point. I can honestly just pipe it in this spot. Yeah, we could do here. We put a gas vent there. We won't hook it up yet. Mine that out. We'll need the power hooked up to it. Okay, we'll wait till that all gets built, then we can worry about the next thing. Yeah, we're getting the power grid to come on just a little bit right now. We just need the lums. But this will be good if we let this hydrogen out. That'll give me at least a little tickle of some more power for a little while. Yeah, and there's another hit on Demolier. I'm just worried that we might be too far behind now because with the power grid shutting down. So you require a lot. Let's disable that building and disable this building. We're going to shut those off. We can go to the labs and all that. Shut those down. Take those off the power grid for the time being. Okay. Am I out of the figs? Okay, let's check to see what I need to grow the figs, because it's looking like that's going to be an immediate concern as well. Because if we don't get the figs, our animals will start starving, and then they'll stop producing peat. So fig. Sure, I don't care, just give me things. Alright, let's go ahead and look up the figs and what I need to get those, because that's a problem. We're in trouble. Okay, so we have the vine. Oh, it's those things. Okay, well, we're pulling those constantly. Yeah, we're pulling from these constantly, so we should be okay with that. I might just need more of them available. Yeah, those ones are harvest ready, but I can't really get to them. Yeah, I got these ones up here that are growing a bunch. Yes, that should be okay. We should be able to actually get those. We have enough of them available. It's just a matter of getting them harvested and done all that. Let's make sure we're not doing anything with them in any of the kitchen stuff. I don't think we are. Yeah, all of our food is basically sweet corn. So you all just became priority 9s. That if you can get a fig, you get a fig. Now, we can grow those. Let's check to see what it would take for us to grow these. So you have to have water for your irrigation. And it's basically it. So it's just water. So what we could do is start getting those things set up where we can harvest them. That'll be good. And this will give me a buffer for the oxygen. And once that buffer's all hooked up, and go over here and get that bridged to be an output, because that'll be whatever gas we aren't handling. I can snip that line, and then we can connect that over here to then route it around the other way. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of natural gas building up. We just aren't running the pump enough to grab it. Okay, so I do think we're going to need to get the fig farms going. And with it just needing fresh water, I could probably go and put like a fig farm down here somewhere. What temperatures do you need? I think you probably need it warm, don't you? Yeah, you need it relatively warm. Maybe the fig farms can go up here, because like I said, we can just pipe the fresh water through there. And that'll be a way to slowly delete fresh water, because we have a surplus of that. Okay, so let's go here. First of all, breathable gases. Oxygen. Now let's get the pipes all hooked up. So you're already hooked up here. So you get hooked there. And then we can go to the ventilation stuff. Deconstruct the gas bridge. Disconnect it on both sides. Deconstruct the gas pipe. And then we'll want to go all the way up here. And we'll want to add ventilation to dump anything we can't find back out there. And then snip it on this side. Okay. So now what should happen is this thing shouldn't get backed up until we start overflowing a bunch of this. It does look like I've got a bunch of hydrogen here. Oh, the hydrogen isn't getting where it needs to go. So this is... Oh, I see what happened. I see what happened. So I need to take this bridge, deconstruct it. It's facing the wrong way. Once we correct that, the hydrogen should come back online. And because it's backed up, that should give me at least a little while that we have the generator running solid. Meanwhile, I forgot to connect you, which is important. Then go over here. Just plug that right in there, and that should sort itself out on the other side. Okay, so we go there. And with that bridged, the hydrogen generator should come back on. So is this like RimWorld Dwarf Fortress style game with side perspective, or is it different? It's very different in the sense that you don't have like external enemies attacking you. And it deals a lot more with like chemistry and air pressure and those kind of things. So it's a lot more environmental hazards going on that you're trying to juggle and balance, like inputs and outputs kind of thing. Whereas, you know, there isn't someone who like lands on it and starts shooting your dupes or whatever. That said, they die plenty enough without external threats. Okay, so that'll kick that on, so at least we'll get the hydrogen power online. I'm running out of time. This one, on the other hand, I got a big meteor coming at me that I gotta shoot down, and we're trying. And we're not doing great because our power grid went down because I ran out of peat. And I got my little dinosaurs here trying to make more peat, but they're just not keeping up with it. Alright, so with that, we're now pumping everything through the system. It's getting where it needs to go. So you could break into a new area. There could be hostile creatures. Yeah, no, there's a couple of different things that will attack you, but it's not like an event trigger. There's not like random events like earthquake or weather or stuff like that. The most you'll get is you'll have meteors hit the surface, but that's kind of only a issue on the surface and nowhere else. Okay, so we're basically running almost exclusively on hydrogen right now, and a little bit of peat going on. But yeah, like there's no attacking factions. It's not a combat game. It's a colony builder. But as you can see, like, we've got, you know, oxygen up here. If we go down there, there's carbon dioxide, so that sinks. So I've got this pump that what's happening is it's gradually pumping the air into this whole system where we're filtering it all out to get the carbon dioxide and just send it out to the surface to be dumped into the vacuum of space. Oxygen we're pumping to our various other locations. Hydrogen, we're doing all that. One thing I probably should also do is go up here to the airflow tiles. Go up to these tiles and put some airflow on the other side of this pump so we can help the gases move around a bit better. Alright. Okay, they're continuing to bring the water up here to get these online, which will be good. I don't like that you left bleach stone sitting there. That's not helpful to anyone. That's putting a bunch of chlorine inside my base. Yeah, and that's messing with the air pressure. So let's go ahead and turn these back on. We turn them off for a while to allow this to run. Because it's doing its best to get all the air out of there, but it's just going to take time. Alright. On the other hand, all that chlorine getting around may have helped with our germ problem. Not really. That's still terrible, but, you know, I can hope. How did Bleachstone get over there? We can go over here. Fill in those gaps. Alright, we're not going to be getting... So we were getting what? It's amber. And then the amber I need to convert into resin. So amber, if it heats up enough, becomes resins and fossils. Or I could take the amber to the plant pulverizer, and it spits out the resin and fossil and all that. Did I make two of these? Because I know I don't want to do the amber to resin in the same machine. For a lot of reasons. Yes, we can make this into resin. And resin's a liquid. And resin turns solid at a relatively low temperature. Only 70 degrees. But if I get resin into the polymer press, it then produces a tiny bit of steam. A tiny bit of steam and plastic. But it has to go in there as the liquid form. Which requires it to stay warm enough. I'm not ready to add that onto the grid as much as I want to, because our power is really struggling. And that's not going to get any better otherwise. Because right now we're holding up okay because the hydrogen's running constantly. It's not going to last. We're going to get this peat set up, and we're going to need to get more natural gas in here. Okay, yeah, you keep producing oxygen, sending it where it needs to be. Alright, that's fine. And the pressure is going to keep being a thing until we get that chlorine drawn out and the air pressure built up a bit here over here. You're waiting on the brine and salt water. You gotta be careful, there's a big geyser down there, and as much as I'd love to get that, it's not gonna help. Get it. Ice is getting there. How is our water flow doing up here with this? Yeah, imagine over time, all the liquid in this pipe will mostly cool down, except what's coming out of this part. I wonder if there's a way I should make, like, a bypass of some kind. To have, like, 2 routes it can take. I think where it staggers and it's 1-1, I think that actually works just fine. To, like, kind of mitigate it where it lets one spot of hot, one spot of cold. So I think it'll balance between them a bit. Alright, so Beset gained a skill level. Yeah, we also need to get the power back online just because of the stress relief stuff requires in the power. Okay, so they're officially cramped in here. So what we're going to need to do here is make a second room for our lumps. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm pretty much just going to duplicate exactly what we have. And just move it up here. Let's see if we can handle that, if that'll be too big. Okay, so we'll start with that. We're going to get all this set up and going. Alright, that's unfortunately going to be through the bathroom, but it is what it is. So I'm going to need to go up here and say it's under food. Critter drop off. Right there. Critter pickup. Entombed. Why are you this way? Cookie. Why are you the way you are? Cookie. Buddy. Pal. Stop entombing your head. You don't need to live the rest of your life buried under the floor. Give me a minute, I'm just gonna tell him to build all that. And dig that all up. Alright, so back to what we're doing. So, stations. I need the grooming station and the shearing station. Wait, do I need the shearing station? I don't need this. I don't need the shearing station. It's fine, whatever. Grooming station, though. The grooming station I do need. Yeah, because you excrete that. So that shearing station is literally not doing anything. So we can turn that off. We will need a critter feeding machine. And we'll put a couple of these. So we can get back up here, and then we'll clean all that out. And deconstruct a bunch of stuff. Alright, so critter. Lum it. Critter. Lum it. This. Lum it. Okay, so choose blueprint. Steel, okay, just straight up steel. I'll take straight up steel if you just want to give me steel. And we'll go to you. There's operating. Outside of stable. Right, you need to have that mined out so you can get that built. We can also go in here real fast, go to our base. I'll give them another stable that looks nice. By that I mean just deleting a lot of materials I don't need. Oh, don't lock that open. Okay, so we're getting all that sorted. We can go ahead and also mine this up. It looks like we're also getting a little bit of peat there. That'll help supplement things. Okay, so the power grid's back online properly for a little while. It's not going to last until we get more of the lums going. So we're going to do the best we can with all that. But that's fine. Furniture is popping up and down. Oh, I still don't have nearly enough of those projectiles. It's entirely because the power grid's struggling. Okay, so the good news is the oxygen is getting all set up the way we want it. It looks like a little bit of natural gas did bleed into this line, so it'll damage stuff when it reaches it. That's fine now, because it shouldn't keep happening. But this should slowly start building up that oxygen reserve. And this can just keep churning away, and occasionally it'll get some hydrogen in there. Okay, there's another hit against Demolier. We are actually working on that again. Storing 8 critters out here. Gonna deconstruct that. Then we're gonna wrangle that. If we get to the point that we are getting too many lumps, we'll just kill them. Alright. So we're getting that done, You slipped on the ice, love to see it. All the ice is melting here very rapidly. We are piping out extremely hot liquids here. I guess, honestly, here, I don't really have a reason for that to be an insulated pipe now I think about it. I just want to dump the heat out here. So we can go here. I don't think we want to go full radiant pipe. We can make that regular pipe, and we'll just let it radiate out the heat in this whole area. Alright, so we're starting to get steel. And the big benefit of us getting steel is, with a little bit of time and effort with the steel, I can make an area that we can just do ridiculous amounts of cooling. So where I've got kind of this messy setup here, we can do much better. And that's using the aqua tuners. So with aqua tuners, we can use this. Yeah, so it need 1,200 steel, so that's a lot. But yeah, with these aqua tuners, they dump a lot of heat out into the air and they cool down things a lot. I'm gonna have to check to see with all this, Okay. So So yeah, the biodiesel. Yes, your freezing point is 14 degrees Fahrenheit. So the biodiesel is not going to be able to work in our aqua tuner system. The aqua tuners are just going to cool it down too much, too fast, most likely. And that will ultimately result in it turning solid and exploding the pipes. Okay, so we're getting lots of that all made. And you need nickel. That is unfortunate that we're running out of nickel, because I am going to need to find new sources for it. Yeah, that'll be all fine. We'll start carving that up. That'll be fine. That's fine. So the big problem I'm going to run into is I'm very quickly running out of the metals. But we're going to need to find a source for that. We don't have much of that. Like, we're still mining up what's available here. But I'm going to need more metals coming in, because this cannot be allowed to shut down. And that's what's happened here, is it doesn't have the nickel to keep going. And that timer is going down fast. Okay, so we're officially starting to get oxygen to just sit in storage. Which I love to see. Because that'll be a buffer for when I need it. Okay, you are set to go anytime that's above 500. That's fine. Outside of a stable. Okay. So this room is too big to be qualified as a stable. So it is 104 tiles, and we can only be 96. So I gotta shave two tiles off. Which I kind of figured was a pretty high possibility. But it was one of those things that, you know... wasn't gonna have it until we're ready. Okay, because then we can get the grooming station. With the grooming station, then we'll have everything we need to get the lums doing their thing up here. Yeah, you don't need power for any of that, do you? That's fine. Alright, so that's now happy. So we've got another lum up here. In their room. And I'll probably end up needing yet another room for the lums. But we can worry about that when we get there. So we're increasing our peat production. That should help a great deal. We grabbed a bunch of peat. I'm going to need to get to the point where we're producing a bunch of food for them, which is going to require fresh water. Which luckily has not been an issue because we're making all of this gross water with the peat. We're going to do it so we can get these planted at a much better rate of production. The problem is they need to stay in warm areas. And this is where a lot of our cooling is happening. Honestly, one thing I could do is I could make it so this pipe goes over here, so they just so it circles. I would need to make it a I need to make it a gate, though. So I could have that pipe... Yeah, that's what we could do. What we could do here... This would be a little messy. Is do that. And that. So what ultimately happens is this would just rotate around in a circle until it can go through there. It probably is not going to work the way I want it to. Oh, that's just going to block itself, because that's going to prioritize that one. Well, that's not exactly what I was hoping for. What I'm hoping for is a way to keep it cycling around. So the issue of what I need to do is it'll prioritize whatever's going in this side over, but then that gets second priority. So if I had this bridged over, and then that going around, it should prioritize that to keep it looping. But I don't know a great way of doing that. So what I might be able to do is deconstruct the bridge, deconstruct that pipe. This is definitely not the correct way of doing it. Yeah, but we have that there. And connect those two over. Yes, we got multiple spots there. Okay, maybe not here. Maybe here. So now if I put the bridge here... Potentially, because the idea is I want to keep it looping. And kind of only inject more oil when it clears. As a way to hopefully stop this problem where one hot spot gets stuck. And then these get way cooler than I need. And I'm sure there's people have figured out like min-max ways of doing it that I just haven't bothered to look up. Okay, so the biodiesel is doing amazingly. Our power grid's stable again. Biodiesel... Oh, we had it get, Need a liquid bridge? Yeah, no, I built a liquid bridge. Well, that's what we're doing. Right now, I gotta wait for that to clear, and then we'll snap that off as well. Yeah, some of the biodiesel got cold enough it solidified. Yeah, soon as that cools off to enough to unstick it, then this should clear. Actually, what I can do is I could snip you. Now wire that over. Yeah, that should circle. I'm just getting blasted with radiation. Yeah, so just want to give that a second. As soon as that drops the temperature, we'll probably be able to get that sorted. And then that should unstick it. It's not really what we're looking for. Oh, I remember how we do this. I remember. I actually needed the pipe going like this. So disconnect. So snip this pipe. That pipe bad. Grab this pipe. Loop that pipe over. Because if I remember correctly, it'll prioritize the pipe already going through there over that. So it should just loop around if it can't get through this. But it's not how it's actually working, unfortunately. Okay, so you're made out of lead. Not working at all how I expected. Grab a regular pipe. Pipe it back in there just to clear it. Yeah, because I remember it has a whole system where it will prioritize drawing from this, but it'll prioritize the output of what's already in the pipe. I was hoping to see this run continue. Yeah. No, we just kind of took a break to do some Medieval Dynasty and all that, because that had an update that I was excited for. So we checked that out for a while. Critter starvation. That is unfortunate, and I am trying to resolve it, and not really doing a great job. Yeah, getting those figs, that's fine. So we need to get the actual fig farm going. Like genuine, like a proper fig farm and not the stuff we've been doing. And tomorrow, Final Fantasy Tactics? Yeah. I definitely played a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics growing up. Oh, choose blueprint. No more dupes right now. So keep deconstructing that. So I guess the fig farm would end up needing to go down here. Kind of the only place I could fit it. I probably also should go over here and start putting the insulated block along this area because that saltwater geyser. Let's carve that out. And we'll build the fig farm over here. Eventually I want to deal with the salt water, but we'll worry about that later. Because I'm also thinking I could put like a bridge kind of thing over here and loop it back around there. That kind of deal. Because right now that's not really doing what I want. It's basically we're getting the hot stuff from here. Oh, you know what it could be? It could also be that we put the valve here and check the temperature of stuff up here. And if it's cold enough, we just bypass this whole system and only the hot stuff goes over there. This isn't a good setup, so I'm not too fussed with it. Because what's fine is we've got the reservoirs full up here. This backs up, and the idea is I just want to gradually get this all cooled off. The problem we're running into is because it's not looping back on itself, I get the stuff over here isn't dumping off the heat fast enough. Let's try and fix these pipes and maybe this will help. So we can go ahead and grab the lead. So I have that doing that, and another lead one there. We'll see if that'll help radiate all that heat off the pipe, get into that cold air. And you're still waiting on pollination, but the air pressure's fine. We're good here. Disable that building for right now. Disable that building for right now. You're getting little bits of natural gas going, little bits of hydrogen going. Okay, so we got 70 cycles. We're not making much progress here. What are you waiting on now? You are out of nickel. I need a better source for nickel or whatever metal we're going to ultimately use. Because we've got most of the nickel pulled up at this stage. And that's still saying I got literally hundreds of nickel here. Okay. So there's literally, it's not actually out of the material. Oh, it's processed nickel. I missed that. Nickel ore to nickel. That sucks. Sure, for right now, just do it if you can. I can also just smash it, which is not efficient. But right now, we're pretty desperate. So let's go here. Do it like 40 times, 50 times. Because this thing isn't getting the work done down here. Actually, no, you are getting it done. Okay, hang on. I lied. Don't do that. Go down here. If it's available, get it done. And that's nickel. Okay, so he's going to run back and forth between making the shots and making the nickel, then making the shots. Looks like you need a hot industrial brick. Oh, you mean a block for the rooms just to be hot? Yeah, like right now this is fine. We're using the fact that this whole area is super cold, and it's handling it. And then we also have the stuff up here going along. The big problem I'm running into is, like I said, this cycle over here, I need it so that the hot liquids, it'll loop back on itself kind of thing. Oh, you know what? I might be able to make this work. Okay. So, snip you. You have to be careful that I don't accidentally dig that up. So, if you can't go through here, you go up, around, down, over, and then we put a bridge here, and then connect it there. I don't need to dig that little spot under there to reach it. But what should happen with that, if I'm thinking about this correctly, is because the prioritization on a lot of these pipes, it should, if it can't go through the valve here, it'll go around here. This can only flow one way, so it will create a rotation that goes through this way. If memory serves me correctly. Because of that, if I can keep it rotating through there, we'll have some of that keep going out until it's just hot liquid in here. And that should mean that these cool down better. So we'll see if this worked out the way I'm expecting it to, or if I've just wasted more time. Okay. Because we want to get that pipe cleared so I can run more. Unreachable dig. I mean, yeah, that's fine. They gotta finish that up. Alright, all these are doing fine. We're still getting the chlorine put away. This almost has enough salt water to be good. We'll go ahead and just carve through here so you can get more of it. Gotta let more of that hydrogen out. Starvation is a self-inflicted problem. There we go. Maybe. It's not exactly what I had in mind. Oh yeah, no, that's all too hot. That's good. So yeah, basic, it'll just rotate through until this gets a unit that's cold or hot enough, or cold enough, whatever. And they'll let it through. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So then it should do a little bit better job of cooling. Obviously, just a couple of Wheezeworts isn't exactly the most powerful cooling setup. But it's at least now reliably working where it's going to keep drawing that temperature down. Yeah, so now you look at the pipes, and these pipes are properly hot. And that's completely fine. They got a little bit of lead laying around there, that's okay. And very rapidly we're melting all of the ice in the area. Okay. Hey, Sherry, how's it going? Can I get a shout out for Sherry Kind, by the way? Another fantastic content creator on the platform. Someone I definitely recommend checking out. Good times over there. Plays like a lot of RimWorld and a whole bunch of good stuff. So I'm actually going to do that now. Playing RimWorld, all that good stuff. You reinstalled Oni, only have 3 hours in it so far. Oh, it's good. It's definitely worth playing. Let's go over here. We can dig out that. So I could dump all that salt water down here without me having to deal with it. Got a bunch of junk down there. Alright, so the power seems to be stabilizing. We're getting all that good. So what we're going to need here is food, hydroponic farm tile, do that. And once that's cleared, we're going to get this set up. And I will need a pipe going over here. And it's going to need to be water. So I didn't leave myself a great way to bring it over, but that's okay. We can put a liquid bridge here and there. Cool, and that'll bring the fresh water over. So I can hopefully get more of the figs going. But we'll want to fill that in more. Let's see, probably one of the video games. Let's see, you didn't get hooked in the last time you played? Probably didn't play long enough. Yeah, no, it does take a little while to start getting you. An Oni stream? Rare gems? Yeah. Well, I mean, over on Twitch, we actually have people who stream Oni quite a bit. What are we working on here? Right now we're working on getting rid of the asteroid here, which is basically depending on me getting more lumps sorted out. And then just, honestly, just keeping the process going. Because we're now getting our metal and all that handled. And then we have our cooling thing here that's only okay, but it's getting the job done. And we're slowly heating up all of the air in this area, which is perfect, because I don't care. Yeah, so we're working on making steel as well, so we can get a proper cooling loop built eventually. How are we doing on that front, by the way? I'm imagining not good, because I'm imagining we're running out of the refined charcoal. Would be my guess. No, there's still refined charcoal. It's just dealing with the cooling side of things. And while I could let this just cycle and ignore that problem, the reason we're not doing that is if I do, I will gradually just cook this whole place with extremely hot coolant going through there. And eventually they'll start being the coolant turning into all sorts of awful things that we don't want. So we're just going to leave that to do its cycle. It's working now. I don't have enough to justify getting me all the Wheezeworts opened up here. The Dartles will also be important for the chlorine stuff as well. Make sure you got everything you need. Yeah, so we've got peat happening, the biodiesel, and you're running low on nickel, as in refined nickel. And that's just depending on that. We're not doing great. We only got about 65 cycles to go, and Demoliator still needs a bunch more. I'm going to make sure we're not getting ourselves in even more trouble. I'm going to turn that down to stop making the iron and steel, and just nickel. Nothing but nickel. So we're getting those happening. I should have you at a fairly high priority. You are. Okay, once we get that built, so you are going to be... Where are you? There you are. And more goodies. We're gonna reject it all because that ice is just gonna sit on the floor and melt and make a mess. Pretty sure you got enough time? I do. I just gotta keep it moving. That's been the catch. Is it's kind of been taking its time there. All right, so we've got that. That's gonna take a while for all that. You also stream on Twitch? Yes. Like I said, if you're looking for Oxygen not included, there's a pretty good number of people streaming it over on Twitch right now. All right, Luxray, you take it easy. Thank you for tuning in, all good stuff. You don't have that many people streaming on YouTube in general. Let alone more I shouldn't say niche games, that's not fair to the game. Let alone not as mainstream of games. And our stress is still being maintained just fine. Hey, Treacle. And let me go ahead and do this, which is a shout out for Treacle. Oh, already beat me to it. He's another fantastic content creator. Also plays RimWorld among other games, so definitely a good time over there. So you definitely want to check out Treacle as well. Okay, so you're cramped, you're elderly. You're starving. Going great. Set that up to 7. Because yeah, we're going to let this expand so we can hopefully get even more stuff. Obviously, I'm going to need a better way in and out of this place. We'll probably bring this platform across. So they stop having to do the little hop. That probably won't matter, but we'll build it that way anyways. We got more bleach stone that needs to be put away, but that's not really the priority. We're just going to keep things going as much as we can. There's actually a lot of people here? Yes. Yeah, very genuinely, the reality is, unfortunately, the streaming side of YouTube is not amazing. Like, not from the creator's perspective. it very much feels like YouTube felt they were obligated to have streaming there, but for the most part never really kind of circled back and did much with it. So yeah. Alright, so let's check on this. You're still cycling through, keeping it cool. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, no, that's, right now I would definitely say for, like, streaming games and all that, yeah, no, it is definitely Twitch's kind of the one to beat. Welcome, Rubberbun. It's good to have you. Okay, so we got that planted. So that will take time to set up and get anything happening. Alright, 66, and we're just not getting stuff done fast enough. You're waiting for nickel. And you're waiting for the pipe to be cleared. So I need to adjust these pipes. So the way we can probably adjust this is let me switch this over. We can take the insulated pipe here and do that. And that should prioritize this one over that one. So you go ahead and cut that line. So as we get openings, it should prioritize the hot liquid over the stuff coming from the reservoir side. Which does mean this will tend to back up more, but at least it'll be focused on trying to clear the metal production. I'm going to, in the meantime, because that's not going fast enough, we're going to go back over to here. Nickel ore. Just start making it. It doesn't do us any good to spare materials if like half the colony gets exploded because we were unwilling to deal with stuff as fast as we should have. Again, we opened up a good couple spots. We're letting a bunch through real fast. There you go. So it's pulling almost entirely from this and not even touching that right now. That's all almost 300 degrees. So that'll be our nickel being produced much faster. Power looks like it's being a problem. That's just, I've got too much running now. Got so much to catch up on. Oh, that doesn't need to be locked closed. Alright. Yes, the good news is we're seeing Infinity Simplex come down here constantly to run it. The downside is just the power isn't holding. I've got the peat burners all going, and then the hydrogen is going relatively steady. Not as steady as I'd like, same with the natural gas. So it's mostly these three hydrogen systems going, which isn't really helping us too much. So I could probably do is find some other machines to turn off. How are we doing on fertilizer? I'm only at 1,000 kilograms. Our peat is on the very fence. We turned off those, we turned off that. You're continuing to get more rockets going. Comes down and runs some appliances, has no idea of. You're just you know, making molten metal, as you do. All right, little by little, we're just steadily getting some of this out of here. Yeah, so it's holding up so far. Now the good news is once I get this sorted out, we no longer have an urgency thing. Once we destroy the giant meteor hurtling towards us, it comes down to I can go back to taking my own speed with it. So I've honestly probably got enough of the biodiesel made at this point. I don't need more. You're just consuming a trickle of water constantly to grow. I can live with that. We've got an overabundance of water. Yeah, starting to get hits in on it again, finally. Does the size of the asteroid increase as it approaches? Oh yeah, absolutely. It gets very upsetting. There's gold over there. And nightmare fish. More hits. Want to see it. Okay, we'll turn these back on for a little bit. Continue letting all that happen. Got water over there. Right, we got marked down where some of these geysers are. That's gonna melt very soon. And that'll be a bad time. Okay. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so it looks like now with this setup, it does a bunch of laps, and after a while it'll let through a good handful of spots of oil, then it'll clear the machine. We get a good couple rounds of stuff going. That'd honestly be fine in the long term if it's stuck to that pattern. Because it is one of those things you don't usually need your foundry running like 24/7. A lot of times if you hit that kind of a speed on it, it ends up just being one of those things that you just generate lots of heat. And how are we doing on our nickel? Insufficient peat. I forgot you need peat as well. Okay. Do we have any peat that I can get at to easy? Mine that. Honestly, in this case, just ladder straight down here. Let's start tearing all that up. I don't want to tear that up yet. Pull up those. Pull up that. Pull up that. Pull up this. Don't want to remove that. Just grab what you can and just keep peeling it back. Because we're going to need so much peat in here. There's a little bit of peat there. Let's leave the bleach stone alone. We're going to grab the little pocket of peat down there. Grab that peat. Oh, we actually got all the way over here towards where I believe that's the steam geyser there. If it has metal, you might... I missed context on a lot of something. I got distracted looking for the peat and was just like, wait, what? Okay. Oh yeah, no, if you're getting a foot extra, yeah, no, you won't probably have to worry about much. Usually with a lot of that stuff, if it is something they'll have to worry about, they'll tell you in advance. So you're not left guessing. I see, in this case, we can go all the way over here. Continue to open it up, getting more peat. I can scrape the roof off. Okay. And we're getting all that sorted, little by little. I want to get all that pumped out, potentially. Okay. That's continuing to work. Demoliator is gradually losing health. I think it's losing health at sufficient rate. We'll probably get through it in time. But definitely wish it was going faster. We can check on our star map. Just one more after another being shot at it. Okay, we need to mop that up. Because all the ice is starting to properly melt down here, because we're just melting up. They just ganged up on that asteroid a little bit. The downside is it only marked the one hit. I think that's just a graphic glitch that all the ones. I'll take free glass. You want to give me free glass? I'll take free glass all day. Clear that up. That's fine. No more peat over there. Yeah, so we're going to get to this point. Pretty much what I need to have happen now is keep this going as fast as we can. Get that thing destroyed. Once it's destroyed, everything gets a little bit less of a problem. Got all the polluted dirt and all that over there. None of that's going to give me more peat. There's basically the dinosaurs are going to be my source of peat. That's the reality. We are going to need to tone down how much we're doing with that. Meanwhile, we can figure out what type of geyser was this again? So that's the steam vent. So we're not ready to mess with the steam vent yet, but that is one of the things we kind of have all this around. So my intention is to get a setup with steam. You could dump it out there. This becomes a source of water. Right now, we really don't need water that much. Why are you there? And we don't really need water that much. We have tons of it. And you can get over there, so that's not a problem. That's what we're here for. No reason to be sorry. Oh no, you're totally fine. It was just I got hyper focused on trying to spot Pete and turn around and I was like, I've missed the entire conversation. Like I have no idea what's going on. Okay, we can go over here and just rip all that up. 760. We're knocking it down little by little. I just want to keep it up because what's going to happen is we're going to run out of peat, and that's going to be way slower on the damage we're dealing. Okay. You've got all that fine. And this is one that's going to be an issue. Is we can get that saltwater geyser as another source of water. But I kind of really don't need that one. The steam has the advantage of it'll be potentially hot enough for me to get a little bit of power out of it. And then we end up cooling it down. The problem is the steam stuff will have to be... I'll need both the plastic, and I'm also going to need the... I'll need both the plastic, and I will also need steel, realistically, to make the steam happy. Utility-wise, we can get enough steel for the thermal aqua tuner. And once I do that, we can start making a really effective way of making power, because you turn it on, it blasts the steam out at a high pressure, which makes the steam engine go on. You run your coolant through the whole thing, and you can make almost a completely self-sustaining system. It's not 100% self-sustaining, but pretty close. And with that, you end up having surplus cooling, surplus power, and all sorts of stuff to work with. Okay, rip that all back up. That's done. I got a bit of peat up here. So I guess we'll just build this straight across. Yeah, we can pull that up. Let's, just a precaution. Let's not build it over that. I'm a little worried about just accidentally ripping that up. Okay. Just open up that whole space, that's fine. It's getting so big. We're starting to catch up, though. And if I remember that happening last time, too, that things were looking really grim, and then, you know, I got everything stabilized, and at that stage, it was just knocking them out one chunk after another chunk after another chunk. Okay, we go here and put a pitcher thing there. Cool, we can pull all that up. Those two tiles. Has to be the outside one first. And we can pull these two up. If you're wondering why I'm doing these in section of like 2 tiles, if I pull more than that, they'll like cut over there and not be able to reach those tiles, so it is just like slowly chipping away at the area over there. Yeah, just watching its health drop. Getting it going. I got fertilizer and regolith and everything over here. That'll be worth looking into farther later. Bunch that's going to be worth looking into later. Okay. Meanwhile, for the steam, I should be good to pull all that up. And this. and that. Because that's where the geyser is. Then we can clean all that up. Okay, all the rest that's fine. And once we pull that up, we can deconstruct that and we'll be good. Alright, and it's down to the 600s. Making solid progress. Really hoping the nickel is keeping up. How's the refinery doing down here? One thing that should also happen over time is if we're continuing to do it this way, the liquid on average in here should keep going down in temperature. Just because we are bringing around that's gotten cooler and cooler. Wonder if that's affecting the temperature here yet. Not really, because it is going through this area that we're creating all of this heat anyways. I'm pretty sure where it's cramped. Yeah. It's cramped just lowers the reproduction rate. So just the rate we get more lumps. So I don't really care if they get overpopulated. I mean, how goes this? It is slowly growing. Okay. Starting to get oxygen in reserve again. Making a ton of fertilizer. Okay, we got more skill points happening. Alright. So I'm getting to the point of not being entirely sure what to do with some of these people for their next skill points. Just kind of assigning everything. But we're managing to maintain the stress levels that they get up here when they start to get properly stressed and get themselves sorted out. Move that down to 10%. Which also has them going through... I do actually have a nature preserve. And so that's kind of a trick, is when they start getting sad, they cut to the nature preserve, get that giant mood bonus, and then quickly get themselves sorted and get back to running around and doing their stuff. There we go. We're officially catching up to the point where we're going to be ahead of Demolier. It's going to get way closer than I want it to, but I think we're going to be in good shape there. Another thing I'm probably going to want to do here, that's going to take some time, is flatten out this surface so that when we have the meteor strikes, I can just pick up all the trace amounts of iron being left everywhere. It's going to take some work to do. And a big part of that's probably going to be building a ladder to get up to the highest part. And then just cutting off the top. And then working the way down. Alright. Okay, so we're getting low on polluted dirt, which is a material I actually need. So I can clean all that up. We do have gold amalgam, so I'll go clean that up. There's a bunch more in here. Oh, hang on. Don't pierce that. I didn't see that we had that thing in there. Alright, what we're probably eventually going to want to do is let these mosquito things kind of cut loose and get themselves eaten up by that. And I could potentially add one of the robot things to clean that and conveyor it home. We'll see. Right now I'm just trying to get a bit more of that. We get the gold amalgam to make gold later, which will be good for quite a few things. What thing in there you don't want a piece of? Here, so you got the nits. Basically it's a mosquito that will attack your people. So they are one of those things that... Yeah, nits are hostile airborne creatures primarily bred as food for carnivorous lure plants to produce amber. Their offspring must be exposed to liquid in order to survive. So basically, you have them just reproducing more and more. Oh yeah, no, the Western Shaper has one as well. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to juggle right now. How are we doing? Let's add nickel, like regular old nickel to this. Okay, so now we can keep a track. Because each one of these shots is taking how much nickel? Isn't it? It's not much, like 20? 50. So I've got enough nickel for about 300 shots. So I don't think we make any more nickel with this. I am thinking down here, we can pop in here, and steel is back on the menu, and iron is back on the menu. Wait, what's the rocket thing doing? The rocket thing doing. I don't know what you mean. This is shooting the asteroid back there. It's got 60 cycles, about 61 cycles, for me to destroy it, and if I don't get it destroyed by that point, if we click on this little toggle, everything in this yellow radius here will be destroyed. All of that gets destroyed if we do not get rid of it in time. Needless to say, it tunnels entirely into my base, and even if I did, that's the start point, it gets just barely, like, to the top of the screen, like where you zoom in and you start, like, right here. It's just barely up there. And that's the thing with the DLC with the dinosaurs, the Prehistoric DLC. Okay, you can disassemble all that. New prints available. I'll take free copper. I'll take free copper all day long. Dig that up. Dig that up. Disassemble those. That tile doesn't need to be here. I'll get you over there. No more peat to be pulled up anywhere around there. That's all tapped out. We got a little bit more up here. But that's my main water reservoir. I kind of don't want to mess with that if I don't have to. Yeah, so you can see here that I've got the steam geyser there. As long as I keep this part covered, it shouldn't be able to do anything. What I will do is I will plan for this. Let's go 1, 2, out here. Then we would have... That'll be the hardest part, is when it comes to putting the actual steam stuff here, how we want to deal with that. Because, yeah, you emit the water at 900 degrees. But it'll stay steam for a bit. So we shouldn't have to worry about water collecting in this room. And I'll have that get this whole area mined out. An extra tile over there. Because then, like I said, the steam engine will probably go up here. Made out of steel to help prevent it from overheating. But it'll still need cooling in that for itself. That's going to take work. There we go, we're just chipping away at it. It's almost at half health. Okay, where's the nearest power cable? So have that ready for when we go to hook it up. It's like, this area is super cold. Oh, don't you worry. It's not gonna stay that way. This will be a case where I'm going to want to double insulate it. Alright, that's just going to take work to get done. One of the challenges we're going to also want to do is we're going to try to vacuum this out so there's no gas that isn't the, that isn't steam in there in the long run. We'll worry about that once we get everything ready to unleash the steam. Duplicate skills, sentient cookie, there's your tidying, have a good time. Alright, power is getting to be a problem because peat is running out again. Okay. All right. And a bunch of these eggs are going to start incubating. Then there'll be even more peat coming in. Have you hop right there. Just gotta try and keep that peak going as much as we can. That's all fine. Without compromising those plants, because that's the source of the food for my animals. The quest for lime is not going well. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's just finding limestone or finding chalk or anything like that. You just end up running around till you find a biome with it. It is the unfortunate reality of that one. Alright. So I really need more peat. It's a little bit way up here, but that's not going to be realistic to get to. Man, you need so many of those lums. So we're at 59 days. So we're just a little bit ahead of Demolier. Like for 10 health per day kind of thing. Yeah, it's funny that it sits there, and this isn't updating until things get farther along. You know what? I hate to do this, because it's not going to be sufficient to do anything. Get in your wheel. And you're set to like max priority on that. Okay. So basically they're jumping in the hamster wheel to just do their best to keep as many things running as possible. It provides extremely low amounts of power. Only 400 watts. But at least with that, there is some power coming in while our peat struggles. Alright, so we're still getting the blast shot. It's trying to keep that power online while the peat's just non-existent. Oh, there's a bunch of peat right there. So dig that up. Dig this up. Pull up that. Pull up all of this. Like I said, once he destroyed Demolier, that's a huge demand on our peat that is just going away. Alright. The funniest thing is you have way too much food for the winter. Yeah. Borax you, none of it in a massive radius. Yeah. No, that's just the nature of the beast sometimes. That you just get unlucky with stuff. You got a Lura seed. Oh, because we are harvesting that for the amber. They'll need to turn the amber into the resin to make it the plastic to make the steam engine. I just don't want to touch any of that until we've got the blast shot sorted. I don't need yet more things to struggle with. Okay, we've got more of the salt water going along. Yeah, we're still collecting that, that's fine. And we're slowly pulling this thing out. Actually, don't worry about that yet. Let's keep working on that for the moment. So like I said, somewhere over here I'll make the steam thing, so I'll have like this go over here. We'll have the steam engine up there. Have all of that opened with all of the wheezeworts, so that all these wheezeworts can at least do some mitigation of the heat from the steam engine. And all that nonsense. Yep, getting more hits on the demolier. That's what we're gonna have to do to ultimately handle this. You're all mad because pollination. That'll sort itself out. Continue to make fertilizer with the polluted dirt. That's fine. We'll need a source of polluted dirt eventually as well. How is our storage doing, by the way? Our storage is completely full. That's how it's doing, because I haven't been paying attention to that at all. Alright, well, with that said, we can just go ahead and run this right over here. And keep that going. Okay, that gives them stuff to work on, keep things going. But yeah, no, it was definitely the same thing. Like my my offline playthrough of Vintage Story, I put a lot more time just into kind of chill farming and taking my time with it. And yeah, no, food was just absolutely everywhere. I didn't have to worry about it at all. Yeah, it's fine. I'll leave that there and someday it'll get cleaned up. Or not, I don't care. Just keep on mind it, get as much of that peat as we can get our hands on. Okay. Alright, so how are we doing on the peat? So we got 2,000 something units. It's just keeping the power up and running. We got some more blast shot laying around. So you can copy the settings and drop them there. Yeah, so all I need to do is get like 1 hit per day. And that's enough for us to make sure that happens. Okay, new printals available. Don't care. There's a little bit more peat. Okay, we actually had, the elderly dino in here did die from old age. Shocking no one, but that's still fine. Alright. The air breathability is at 100%. Disable that building. Disable this building. Disable that building. And we'll leave all that to not draw power for a little while. So that our hydrogen can keep going and all that. Eventually this will start giving me a lot of food from it, but it's going to take a while. And you're still working on getting that cleared up. Oh yeah, one of the problems we're going to run into with the power cable, that's right. These power cables, because they can't go through it if you use the connection plate, the connection plate ends up bleeding lots and lots of power. So what we'll probably do is we'll enclose this space, pump all the air out, then, you know, take the effort to disconnect the cable, clear all this room out, because this room won't need to have anything in it, because this is going to make its own air pressure for me and everything. So we just leave it be. The big thing you got to get sorted is getting our steam power up, which is going to just take time. That probably won't end up happening. I mean, it's definitely not going to happen in the stream, because we got about half an hour or so stream left. That takes just way more than that. Alright. So we're ahead about 6 cycles worth. How is our biodiesel going? I'm getting a little alarmed at not seeing a bunch of biodiesel on this side. That's a bit concerning. So we're getting the stuff here. Okay, so they are using it. They're producing it, all that, as fast as it's coming in. It's just, we are going really hard on making the blast shot. So we are getting ahead of it, but that's okay. It is slowly being fed into the system and looping around and all that. I have to figure out what we're going to use as our proper coolant for, like, mid-game. To manage all that heat. Take that off, do that. Scooch that. Grab you. Grab you. Okay. Yep, so getting all that insulated. We're good here. We're good on sand, gradually making clay for everything. Oh, I can remove coal. Coal's not a thing I get on the map normally. That will be a thing that'll make it so I won't be able to make steel after a while. We'll worry about that when we get there. For the moment, let's see here for utilities. Alright, so we're up to 500 steel. So I think the first step with the steel is to get the steam production online. Sorry, get the steam power online with the steel and all that. And I think the next move after that is going to be getting ourselves a cooling area. Because the worst case, I can just shut down the steam power and just let this hit pressure until it shuts off. And then we can turn the steam back on when we're ready. So you can handle up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Because I'm curious if I can manage to keep this Wheezewort from being... Yeah, no, I could probably go over here, like, close this off with insulated tile. And again, shove the steam engine up there. Because I don't think I want to run a bunch of steam engines. I think one steam engine could be run steadily. Or not steadily, could be run a decent amount off of it. There's seacomb leaf all over the place down there. So what else can I use that stuff for? So seacomb leaf I can make into photo oil. I can make into allergy medicine. I can feed it to tropical pachu for polluted dirt. Or paku. Yeah, so all the gulpfish paku and everything, I could use those for polluted dirt. I need polluted dirt. So that could even become a thing that we deliberately drop in, drop some paku in here. Because I put a couple paku down there, they'll eat that, they'll give me polluted dirt, and that becomes a repeating source of polluted dirt. We use the polluted dirt to make the fertilizer, which is what I need for this. So what we'll probably do is go here, eliminate that ladder. I can duplicate the farm tile over here to add one more, but we can move a Paco or two in here. So, food. Let's see. Releases trap Pacu back into the world. We can let that be a thing. Aquatic creature. And any of those. So I don't want a lot of them. Let's wrangle one. Oh, I can't wrangle them. What was it? Food. Fish trap. So I'll just get a couple of Pacu up there. Because I'll have two of these. So it'll be one of those things that we can just let them continue to populate. I have no idea what I'm going to have you help with. Like, we're at a stage, I don't really need you doing it, much of anything. I guess I'll give you rocketry just because. Yeah, but then we might be able to snag a Pacu. Put it into captivity, let it do its thing. You're getting that all built out, that's good. Alright. Demoliator's at 490 health. We still have 50-something days. 56 days. Alright, we'll also want a water pump down here. Cool. Alright. Oh wait, not that tile. You can dig up the rest, but not that tile. Okay, so you got all that. That's all fine. Alright, so you dug all that up. Let's wait to build any more of that until we've got the steam stuff up here. Because I want to make that space enclosed, and we're going to want to pump all the air out of this till it's vacuum. And then once we've done that, we'll drop in, clear that all out. I mean, honestly, I might just leave the thing down there to make it vacuum and just let the pump get destroyed when the heat kicks up. Deconstruct that tile, I don't need it. That's all fine. Okay. So you did get up there, but you haven't mined that up. I keep clearing that up. Now, one of the things we discovered is those iron meteors are doing a lot of damage. So this airlock, I'm going to probably have to find some way to reinforce it. Trapped. Why are you the way you are? Oh, Jackie, I think you're dead. Get her, get her, get her. Get her. Okay, you're fine. Unfortunately, trapped themselves down there when that happened. Okay, so that'll get that all sorted out. That's just the air mask? Yeah, the concern was if we could get back up here in time to ditch the air mask and all that before suffocation set in. Okay. Still has internal air? Gotcha. So if we sweep the one tile of biodiesel, that might get them to go in the fish trap. They just need like one or two up there, and then they should be able to sustain their own population. Alright, so we're having a couple of them slowly creep up a little bit of stress. That's fine. Alright, doing the biodiesel front. Okay, so it's starting to back up again, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. $460, yeah, sort of 10-headed. We're looking really good. Just continue to keep cleaning all of this up just because we can. I can produce enough air that I don't even care, so we can just leave it all doing its thing. We fill up the entire big chasm with oxygen. Eventually probably pump it into storage, so it's not quite as thing. Alright, so we got a gulpfish. Yep, and it'll give us polluted dirt. They're waiting to be rearmed. And honestly, if it ends up being a thing that... Can they eat the seeds as well? That'd be very convenient if they could. Yeah, so you can eat directly from the sea comb. It does actually look like they can eat the seeds. So that'll be even better. Yeah, so we still got tons of carbon dioxide down in this whole area. We do put out some, you know, stuff here, but the carbon dioxide is just building up. But that's okay, because we got our pump up here. It is gradually pulling things along. I'm okay with that. Ultimately, a bunch of this will get opened up. It'll become kind of a big soup. Unless they start vacuuming everything out, which will probably happen in time if we keep going with the playthrough to that stage. It just wouldn't be. So get a bit more, get a bit more. Clean up the last of that. So there's starting to be enough of you to keep that peat going. Because I want to get the peat thing. The carbon skimmer would have a field day. Yeah, I gotta remember, I think the carbon skimmer deletes water, if I remember correctly. Right. So, uses water to filter carbon dioxide. Oh, right, that's right. It brings in water, but it puts out polluted water. So I'd probably want to go, like, way down here for the carbon skimmer. Because, yeah, we can get that going. Now, granted, if I go way down there, the danger I run into is that, it'll get cold enough that the water freezes. Because down here is cold enough that water will freeze. Granted, the area up here that was freezing cold is not like that anymore. Yeah, so we'll just start up here. We can always move it later. So we can go here. And we will need power. Yeah, no, it does create its own heat as well. So input is the clean water. Now puts the dirty water. How do I want to do this? We can just plug it in there, that's fine. I mean, input water might freeze. Yes. That's the issue, is it's cold enough down here that the risk of the water in the pipe might freeze and then break the pipe. That's fine, we can just let this sit there and do the carbon skimming down here. And eventually we'd potentially bring that farther down and all that stuff. Right now, not super worried about it. Yeah, it's another hit. Yeah, I'll just leave him to do that. New prints available. And you are willing to give me a free lumlet. Which is perfect, because I need more of those. Just need way more peat. We're doing okay for right now, but I'm imagining that won't last super long. Especially as I'm yanking up pretty much all of the meat, like all of the material left over here. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so same amount of stuff in there, it just deletes carbon dioxide from existence. So you should see gradually over time that this level here will start going down on the carbon dioxide, assuming that's enough to overcome all of our dupes. And then eventually getting all the way down here to all that. Skill point. Operating is always good. Alright. And you still have all the stuff you need. Just taking time. And you're clearly still processing metal, which I appreciate in a big way. Yeah, I see more steel laying on the ground there. We should probably have the steel tagged here as well. Yep, so it's 600 kilograms of steel. It's 1,500 for the aqua tuner. We don't have the steam engine materials available. So it's only 800 for the steam engine. Because yeah, the steam engine here. Won't let me show it. Like I said, we're gonna put it down over here to run off that hot steam geyser. But to supplement our power a lot and whatnot. It'll be one of those things I'll probably have to go to the steam engine and set it to be like, hey, when your temperature goes over this much, shut off. Because it'll very easily get overheated. Okay, so we're getting all that sorted. I'll have to get these, I'm gonna have to get these set up where they can eat the nits. And then I can collect the Lyra seeds. I'm wondering if the best way to do that, can the larva bite as well? I'm curious, because if the larva can't bite us... I'm pretty sure the larva can't bite us. What I could potentially do is wall that off, have a door that they go into the room and then climb up through the polluted water to get the material when it drops out, and then just let those things go, and as long as we stay under the polluted water, I don't think the nits would be able to go under the water to go after us. Yeah, so we'll start working on opening that up so we can just have the nits spawn, get eaten, do all their stuff. Keep that process working. Okay. They're glum. Temperature's higher than they like it. It's too high for some of them, too cold for other ones. That's fine. Okay. So the plan here is straightforward. What I want to do is I want to get enough polluted water in here that the nit, like we can go down here, grab the resin, and not have to be exposed to the airborne nits. So we're going to start this process by cutting away what I can without releasing that nit from over there. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop all the way down there. I'm going to cut across here and open that up. And then I might have to build some wall in here to kind of squeeze the room to have the water level go up. But if I can get it to be like 2-3 tiles deep, that'll be plenty. Okay, so that'll work there. Let's go ahead and put a wall on this side. Will that even work? Or the one just grow up, get eaten, and not lay eggs? It can be, but that's where I'll probably bring one of these in here. The health bar in Demolier is going down nicely. Yep. But yeah, now there is a chance that that one will immediately get itself murdered. Okay, I'll use a pneumatic door. I don't need anything fancy here. Yeah, now the hope is, worst case, I bring more of these in here. I also don't think I have to auto-harvest them. I'm hoping that's not the case. If that is, we can try and push the water level up higher. Okay. Cool. You can probably lock that open. No, actually, don't lock it open. So I want to make sure the knit stays on this side. Okay, we can open up all this. Start squeezing this room in. And it could even be that I just literally squeeze the room all the way up to this little pocket up there. We'll figure it out. And it could be it grows up, immediately throws itself in there, dies horrifically, and then I have to import them. And if that is what it is what it is. We'll figure it out. Are you still making nickel? Yeah, we're still fine. You keep... Oh, more ice melting. That's totally fine by me. And dropping down there and becoming ice again. Okay, and the peat's getting dangerously low, which... there's honestly not a whole lot more I can do. Pretty much mined out the entire area here. Building up the population best I can. Okay, and they're eating all of the stuff there. That's fine. Let's bump that up so we get more of this happening. Because that's a rate of rock and roll once I get enough salt water in there. We definitely have it because I got this pumping down here. Okay, we can deconstruct that. There's nothing left for you to pull up here. Can't sweep up any of that. That's fine. We got stuff to sweep up here and there. And there. Okay. Food's holding up well. What is your issue? Pollination. That's just... deal with the Mimicas. Alright. And you've still got the figs going. Yeah, and even this is starting to melt over here in these areas that we're gradually heating it up. Gonna make it a whole lot worse before it gets better for them. And I am okay with that. Okay, we have opened it up where the knit can get back and forth. Alright. So, I don't know how long it goes before it becomes an actual flying bug. Yep, so you can go ahead and just start having it. So we push the liquid up here to get this a little bit more area. And see how that all goes. We have to collect more of like the knit eggs or whatever to get them down here. Okay, and we can go here and get the next row of it. And we're doing our best to keep the lums fed, but we're also struggling with the figs. But this is still growing. As that grows, we'll get that sorted out. Surprisingly, having no water problems. My assumption it's because all of the peat. That the peat is a net gain on water. Go there, get those two. Those two, and here's where things will start getting awkward and weird. Okay. Steam's getting progressed. That's all doing its thing just fine. Unicorn slime? Oh, this... Yeah, that's a seal. It'll be there and eventually it'll turn into oil when it dies. Not too fussed by it. Well, turn into tallow, technically, but same difference. Yeah, I've got people running in here pretty much perpetually. Because they're only supposed to start trying to recharge the battery. Let's set it to start trying to recharge the battery at 0. So when the power actually goes out. Meanwhile, I can go up to this one. Deconstruct it, because I forgot it was even up there. It's 1% 0 may make it not work. Okay, we got you, and we have rust. Alright. And you are still... Oh, you're at fertilization. Okay, no, it's mostly pollination. That's just that one was waiting for fertilization. We can go ahead and deconstruct that. At this point, we've got all the Paku in there and all that we need. We're already pulled up the trap and all that. So then I can plant one more thing here. Deal with that when we get there. Let's squeeze it a little bit more. And we'll see how that works. Okay, and now we're just waiting for all that to happen. You're still pollinating that stuff. We're still getting our oil made. How are we doing on the health? So it's at 39. Yeah, we're well ahead of it now. And everything's just moving along. This is backing up, which is good news. It's just the peat. That's the only thing keeping us from making more progress than we are, is just the peat. Okay, and that's the end of that. Alright. So I guess the best way to deal with this is probably just do one of these. Then we can tear up the ladder when it's done. You're getting relatively close to that being ready as well. Yeah, so we're kind of at that phase where we're just waiting for the next thing to get done. Yeah, that'll probably die right away. Now, I could see it being a thing that we set up a trap. And, like, trap the... Like, I'm gonna need a room that has the nits just allowed to spawn, and then we have to somehow trap them and move them over. Meanwhile, that's set to auto-harvest? Yep, we're good. So we can keep the lums fed. So we're getting all the water for stuff. We're actually probably not using bottled water for hardly anything. Like fresh water, the brine and salt water we are, but fresh water not so much. But yeah, so pretty much what we got is we basically wait to see if that works out the way I'm hoping it will. In the meantime, working on getting all this other stuff sorted out. The only concern I've got over here is I am going to need to be able to, Alright, so here we go. Looking for food. And the food you want is people. And chances of a knit egg are 100%. It is reproducing extremely fast, but the question is, will it reproduce faster than it gets eaten? Because, right? Okay, so these have actually consumed Mimicas already. So they actually don't need to do anything. So this thing should keep working its way through. But like I said, the challenge we're going to run into is at some point I'm going to have to harvest these. Now, if we're lucky, I could time it so that when the knit drops down into the water, like to lay an egg or whatever, I can go in from like the top, harvest both of these, and get out of the way. The alternative is one of those things that we keep kind of building the floor up until we mash it so that the water is here, and then these are up here, and so it's just this tiny little spot. But that would potentially penalize the knit's speed of reproducing. Yeah, they're all happy, so they're making more fish. I think that's ultimately what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to move this to be like up here. We can make it wider so we can run over, harvest these while under the water, because I believe that's going to protect us. You have to see all this talk about knits, and you never scratch your head so much during a stream. Yep. Alright, so we got all that sorted. We got all that pulled up, so pull up those ladders. Pull up these ladders. We got all that sorted. They finally carved that up. So I'll need to pull that up. And then those two. And then take the top off there. So like I said, I'm looking at trying to flatten that out so when it comes time to pick up all the bits of iron that the meteors leave behind, we could do that. You keep hearing Nids and thinking that by the Emperor. Oh yeah, like Tyranids, yeah. Do you guys also call lice Nids? No, I've not heard that term. I was actually going to ask you what that is. No, we just call them lice. There might be other names that I'm unaware of, but I haven't heard them called nits. That's a new one to me. Tell them to build that to, again, push that water level up more and more. Because I am liking the idea about deliberately getting the water level up to, like, here. And then going over there. You're aware of nits as a term? Gotcha. Yeah, admittedly, I haven't had to think or worry about head lice as a thing, really. Like, I know it is a thing that happens, but I think I've only known in my entire time, like, 1 or 2 people who got head lice in school and all that. It was handled relatively well. Okay, this is a problem. You're New Zealand, you call it nits? Interesting. So I guess just maybe down where I am, just not something you hear very much. Okay, so pushing the water level up. Preemptively make that a tunnel. Because my plan is to try and push it up there, make the door up here, and then we'll cut over this way as far as I think I can get before the water level would start dipping. That because it's clear that's not attacking us. That we're down in the water, and it can't reach us, or whatever. Okay. Because that way we can get up to there, we can harvest that. That's for when we go to do plastic. That's not an immediate concern. But that'll be probably the next thing we'll be working on after we get rid of Demolier. Because once I get rid of Demolier, then I can start working on the plastic. We can use that to get our steam power online and yada yada yada. Do all the things. You'll need to deconstruct that. Because then I'm going to have to start filling this in from below. And obviously later on I'll probably want to pull that all up. Just so we have just the base floor, not this big weird solid wall of stuff. But for now, this'll do. Let's go here and deconstruct that. And deconstruct this. And then we'd make a floor, and we just keep inching it up until the water level's high enough, and then we just cut a door right there, right here probably, and just bring it over. In worst case, if I need a little bit more liquid, we can make that happen easy enough too. I just bring in a pump some more in there. The problem I have right now is just a matter of power. Running out of peat again. And we're slowly getting it higher, because each time we get one more of those, it's increasing, you know, our peat production by whatever percentage that'd be. Now, with that said, chat, it is getting to be about that time. So we are going to be wrapping up here for, you know, in just a minute. But if you have enjoyed tonight's stream, don't forget to drop a follow. That way you can find your way back here. We had some fun with some Keep Driving for the first half of the stream. We're wrapped up with some Oxygen Not Included. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST. Don't know what we're playing, if we're going to be playing more Oxygen Not Included or something else. We'll figure it out when we get there. But in the meantime, if you are watching over on YouTube, the stream will be ending abruptly because I don't have a host ready over there. But thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But everyone over here on Twitch, don't go anywhere, because we're going to go ahead and put up my ending stream screen and seeing who